Hey, what's up everybody? Now I know it's been a while since you've seen or heard from me. A lot of things are going on and changing here. We're in the process of moving, we're selling our home and purchasing a new one, hopefully pretty soon so that I can get back to doing what I love. Anyway, I know that's not what you're here for, so that'll have to be a story for another time. Enan here from Droid Mania, and right now you're watching my unboxing and first impressions of the NUU G3. So let's do this. So let me start off by saying that by the time you guys see this video, I've already had the phone for a couple of weeks and had a lot of time to check it out. So when it comes to my first impressions, you guys may recall that I did have the NUU G3 that was released earlier this year, so I'll be keeping that in mind and my experience with that phone as I give you my impressions on the NUU. When it comes to the packaging, it's exactly the same as the previous version. However, this go round, there are two new color variants. I've got here the ruby red, and then there's also the tiger's eye, which is more of a chocolate brown. And of course the sapphire blue, which you guys have already seen on the channel. And would you take a look at this? I think it's going to look really nice. Now before we get too deep into the contents of the box, I'll go ahead and throw the specs up here. I know some of you are going to be interested in that, so go ahead and have a look. For $199 at this price point, I think this phone has a lot to offer. There were times this summer where I did use the previous version of the G3 just because I really like how this phone feels in the hand, and the fact that I've been trying to go without cases for a little while just to see how that works out, and just enjoy the phone the way that the manufacturer intended it. And with this phone having such a low price point, I'm not so worried about breaking it. As you've already seen, the phone is up front and center, but we'll come back to that so that we can take a look at what else is in the box. You've got some thank you notes here for purchasing the phone. Below that, we've got some sort of quick start guide. I'm not going to be using that. I do like the fact that just like the previous version of the G3, there is a clear case included here because as you all know, if you've been to any of your local big box stores, you're not going to be able to purchase one there for this phone. So I'm glad to see that NUU's included that for us. And like most other phones today, you're not going to have a headphone jack here, so here's the adapter. Next up, we find the power brick as well as the USB Type-C cable for charging the phone. And speaking of, here it is. One thing I like a lot about the G3 is the fact that it seems to be right in that sweet spot in terms of size. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's just right. Spec-wise, even though it is categorized as a mid-range phone, it'll be able to handle most things that you'll throw at it with ease. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's take a moment and get the stickers off. That never gets old. There's another one on the back, so we'll go ahead and remove that one as well. This way we can take a good look at the phone. I gotta say, I'm feeling this red. With an all black display, I think this phone looks pretty good. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Right away, I can tell you that all the buttons are located on the right hand side, and the power button happens to be textured as you can see here, and that's a good look because you're going to need that, especially since all of these are similar in size, and the fact that I feel like the power button's pretty close to the volume down button, so we'll see how that plays out. I did charge the phone just a little bit before filming the video, so we'll go ahead and boot it up. Once we get past the animation here, I'll go ahead and set the phone up off camera to keep things moving. But I do usually like to show that because I know some of us are curious. Okay, I'm back. I've got things set up, and right away I can tell you that this phone does have facial recognition. It's not the fastest and probably not the most secure, but it works. On the bottom of the phone, starting from the left, you've got the speaker, the USB, and on the right, the microphone. On the left hand side, there isn't anything, so we'll move up top where you'll find the dual SIM tray. I did take the camera out for a spin and compare it to the previous version, and I gotta say that this one's much better when it comes to overall picture quality. Compared to the previous version, this one's much faster, especially in terms of the images straight out of the camera. As you can see here, there's a lot of detail, but keep in mind this room is well lit. We're not talking iPhone XS or Pixel 3 quality images, but for $200, you get some decent, usable shots. Now, I'm not one to take a lot of photos on my phone anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me, but what does matter, however, is how good is that display? I watch a lot of media on my phone. This is only a 720p panel, but I'm not mad at it. I spent a lot of time watching videos and movies, and it looks fine to me. If I had to complain about something, it's the fact that there's only one speaker and it faces down, and the fact that they lack the richness that I would like, and overall I think they sound pretty tinny. But whatever, I got headphones. Lastly, I did take the phone for a spin with some gaming and I couldn't find anything to complain about. I mean, I fired up Asphalt 9 and it handled that just fine. And I gotta say, going back to the display, I mean, this thing looks pretty good for 720p. I mean, have another look. So when it comes to my first impressions overall, I have to say that for 200 bucks, you definitely get a lot here. I mean, sure, there's no wireless charging, you're not going to have a headphone jack, you're not going to get a 1080p panel or more, but I mean, it's 200 bucks. At this price, that phone's a steal. I like the fact that mid-range phones are getting better, they're becoming more accessible, and there's more to choose from. Now, there will be some drawbacks like finding accessories or the fact that it's not going to be the fastest phone out there, but on a day-to-day, it gets the job done. So after using this phone for about a week, I'd say that it's definitely worth the money. And just like with anything, I'm sure it'll get better over time. If you'd like to learn more about this phone, I've got the links down below, so go and check it out. Okay, so there you guys have it. If you've enjoyed today's video, do leave a thumbs up. And if you're new here, make sure that you subscribe before you go. And by the way, shout out to my boy Log Home, I got you. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you in my next one.